All right, yesterday we took a look at the projected win totals from the sports books in Las Vegas, including but not limited to Caesars Entertainment, the official gaming partner of the National Football League. We did a draft of which teams we thought were most likely to exceed those projections. So let's keep milking that cow, Chris. There's still plenty of milk left in that cow. We're going to flip it around today, and we're going to draft the teams that we think will fail to meet their projections, which frankly is a lot more fun than guessing which teams will exceed. So the one part that isn't fun for me, now I did win the rig coin toss yesterday because there wasn't one obvious team, and there isn't an obvious one today, so I'll probably win the rig coin toss again today. So here's the part where Chris calls tails, the coin gets flipped, it comes up tails most of the time, except when it's not obvious what the first pick would be, then maybe they let me win it once in a while. So go ahead.
I'm sick of your spiel every day with that. Okay, get over it.
You calling heads?
Deal with it.
Are you calling heads?
Cry me a river, Justin Timberlake. Okay, tails. Go ahead, tails, Kristen. Keep it going. Here we go. Oh, baby. Yes.
Yeah, shocker. All right, go ahead.
Real shocker here. Okay. I think I'm going to lead off with somebody very close to your heart. The Minnesota Vikings. Oh, hello, Minnesota. Your guaranteed win total this year is 9 games.
I disagree with you this year, but go ahead.
I see under all over this. I see in my crystal ball Mike Florio still complaining about Kirk Cousins in December of 2019. Still complaining and blaming everything on him, even though I still think there's going to be issues with their offensive line, okay? Yes, I'm not necessarily sold on, the offensive coordinator, some of the improvements they've made to their team in general this offseason. Nothing big. They haven't done anything. The greatest thing is they got Anthony Barr re-signed. That was good for them as a whole. But it's not necessarily an indictment on the Minnesota Vikings, who I think are still going to be a pain in the butt and very good. But I just think the Packers will be better. I think the Lions will be better. And I don't think the Bears are going anywhere because I think the Bears are still one of the better teams in the NFC when all's said and done. So I'm not saying the Vikings are going to go way under, but I don't think it's going to be 9 games. I think the Vikings are going to be in 8-8, 7-9 land. Eat that, Mike Florio and your purple people eaters, okay?
One trend that we have seen during Mike Zimmer's time with the Vikings, it's been every other year they exceed expectations and make it to the playoffs. And this is a year where, they had a disappointing season. They go back to the laboratory. They figure some things out. They implement them, and they end up being better. The expectations are far lower this year. I think the table is set for the Vikings to exceed that 9-game win total. I really do. And again, they just have to match it for you to be wrong because you're saying that they're going to be under it. I think 9 or more is very realistic for the Vikings this year. I think the Packers are going to have a harder time than we realize. I think the Bears are going to take a step back. I think last year they benefited from the fact that they were largely overlooked. I think the Vikings can win more. They were 8-7-1. And that was a disappointing season.
Yes.
This year they will be better than that. So I disagree with you. As much as I want to complain about the quarterback, and the quarterback may keep them from winning a playoff game or going as far as they could go in the postseason, getting there isn't going to be a challenge this year. I think they'll get there, and I think they'll get 9 or more wins. All right. My first one, and I got plenty I can choose from, but I'm going to start with one of the 2 NFC finalists, the Los Angeles Rams, who won that game and went to the Super Bowl and lost 13-3. 10.5 is the win total for them. Yesterday, you said, Chris, that the 49ers are going to be better than they've been under Kyle Shanahan. I think the Seahawks are still going to be a force, and who knows where the Cardinals are going to be. I think the Rams are going to take a step back this year. They're going to be more of the hunted this year than they've ever been. Todd Gurley's knee has an arthritic condition, reportedly. That's an issue for the Rams. And I think that also the longer Jared Goff plays, the more I don't want to say he's going to get exposed, but I'll say he's going to get exposed. And I think it's going to be easier to defend that system, to defend that quarterback. We saw what the Patriots did in the Super Bowl, and that's going to be the template for all those teams that are facing the Rams this year. They are going to now they could still go 10-6 and be under, but I think they're going to be under the 10.5 game projection.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think everything you made, all the points you made makes sense to me. I mean, I do think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be improved. I do think this is the year of the 49ers. You got to watch out for them. I think it's official, so I would say that, yes, I would expect that type of season from the Rams. I'm with you. They cross my mind. 10-win season. It's hard to duplicate what they've done the last 2 years. It's hard to duplicate what you did last year. And of course, it's a big letdown when you do lose the Super Bowl and you get that high and that close to getting a ring and a Super Bowl trophy and all of that. Normal human emotions outside of the New England organization, teams tend to fall off the year after a Super Bowl loss. So I get you there. Honestly, I'm going to stay right there with you, though, in the same conversation and stay in the NFC Championship game. I'm going to say the New Orleans Saints. And not necessarily. Yeah, I know you were going to go there, right? I knew it. I almost picked them one because I was scared you were about to pick them there. But either way, yes, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. A little bit because of what we just talked about, 2 years of crushing letdowns. I do think the NFC South, that Cam Newton, if he doesn't have a banged-up shoulder last year, I think they would have been a pain in the butt till the very end. I think Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay Bucks are going to be better. And again, the Falcons are talented. The Falcons were ravaged by injuries, maybe more than any team in football last year, where if they stay healthy, it's still an extremely talented football team. So it's not necessarily that I just doubt New Orleans. Drew Brees is a year older. Sheldon Rankins, okay, he's not going to be full strength, till maybe later in the year or something like that, if that, because he tore his Achilles heel in the NFC divisional playoff game. So there's just things across the roster that worry me a little bit. Another defensive lineman's up for suspension. Things like that worry me about the Saints. I think they're like 10-6, 9-7. Not saying they don't make the playoffs, but I think they're a little under 10.5 this year.
And my biggest concern is Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Unless he was secretly injured, Father Time is catching him, and that could be it's going to be a challenge to get the most out of whatever Brees has. I think Sean Payton has the coaching skill to put Brees in situations where he can succeed even if he's limited physically. He's got the brain. He's got the reps, almost like Peyton Manning in that final year. I'm not saying it's Drew Brees' final year, but it very well could be. But I think that's going to be a challenge for the Saints to get back to what we saw last year, and that's why I agree with you. I can't fight. I think you made a better second-round pick than you made a first-round pick. All right, my second-round pick, and I hate to do this because I was a big believer in the Ravens last year, and I picked them to go to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
But at 8.5, and I'm not comfortable with this new offensive approach. I think once the teams start to see what they're doing, they're going to be able to shut it down the way the Chargers shut it down in the playoffs last year. 8.5 wins with the Steelers and the Browns in that division. I think that's too much to expect from the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to be under the 8.5 projection, and it really hurts me to say it because they were one of my Super Bowl teams, and I really thought if they got to the playoffs they could make some noise, but I'm concerned about this offense. Unless they can unleash Lamar Jackson as a passer more frequently, it's going to be a concern, and the more they run him, the more likely he is to get hurt, and then they're going to be down to Robert Griffin III, and you ain't winning 8.5 games or more if RG3 is your quarterback, all due respect.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I like the Ravens. It is refreshing to watch this kind of, bludgeoning run game style that they have. But yes, with everybody having a year and teams in their division, they take weeks at a time to study the other teams in your division, to look at the run game and things like that. I guess I got to see a few more tricks with the Baltimore offense, too, to see it expand. Lost a few players on the defensive side of the ball. But the big point is what you said, too. The Steelers are going to be pissed off. The Browns are going to be better. And, hey, as much as we question Zach Taylor and his inexperience for the Cincinnati Bengals, man, I challenge anybody. Look at the roster of the Cincinnati Bengals still. There's still a lot of talented football players on there where I just go, they're not going to be any cupcake that everybody's just going to walk over. So not a bad pick by you. Okay, and this is where I win the draft right here. My third and final choice will be the New York Football Giants. And yes, their projected win total is 6, but I think 6.
Why do you hate the Giants?
I don't.
You hate the Giants.
I don't hate the Giants.
Your dad played for the Giants.
I love the Giants. Shut your mouth. I don't hate the Giants, okay? My question with the Giants is, of course, the quarterback issue, okay? There's a little issue there, all right? I haven't necessarily loved some of the things they've done in free agency, but my biggest concern with the New York Giants is their defense in general, too. I mean, the defense just has no difference makers. Panthers. There's an issue there. They have Janoris Jenkins at corner. There's nobody else really proven. Safety play. I know they got Jabril Peppers, but, the reality is the Browns took Jabril Peppers off the field in passing situations last year. So that's not necessarily like an endorsement for a safety who's going to be on the field in passing situations. There's no pass rushers off the edge. That's where I look at it. Added with the aging quarterback, it just seems like they're more in rebuild mode right now. And yeah, I think the Giants are going to be a 5-11 football team when all said and done this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find this harder than picking the overs like we did yesterday. I'm more.
Well, it's funny.
Yeah.
When we were picking the overs yesterday, I'm looking at it saying, boy, it'd be easier to pick the unders. And if we're doing the unders today, I'm thinking, man, it was easier picking the overs. So
yeah, it is.
I guess that means they did a good job of setting the over-unders.
Yes, they did.
I got one more, though. And I'm torn between two of them, and I can say which two they are since you don't have another pick. I'm torn between the Broncos and the Titans here. The Broncos at 7 with Joe Flacco at quarterback and another new coaching staff and some holes on both sides of the roster. And the Titans at 8.5 with the questions about the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And it hurts me to say it because I love Mike Vrabel, and I think he's going to do great things as the coach of that team. But Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, I know that you think Tannehill could push Mariota and maybe be the starter.
Yeah.
I just don't know. With the Jaguars and the Texans and the Colts in that division, I don't know that the Titans can compete with them.
Yeah.
I don't think the Titans can. And if they can't finish higher than third in their division, how can they win more than 8.5 games? It's that simple. I don't believe the Titans right now have the talent to hang with a division that has systematically and quietly gotten better and better and better.
Yeah, I hear you, Mike. Those are the team. They were on my short list of teams I wrote down as well. And yeah, there's things to like about the Titans roster. Got a good secondary. They've added a few weapons at receiver. But yeah, the offense is a big question mark. I mean, it really is. I don't know what to expect. It wasn't pretty last year with Matt LaFleur until they finally figured out, hey, let's just give Derrick Henry the ball every freaking play and see where it goes from there. But, I don't think that's going to be sustainable going forward. Marcus Mariota, the issues he's had as a pocket quarterback, all of those things. And then another team I would look at and just go, okay, the front seven, there's Jarrell Casey and there's some good players, but is there enough difference makers? And that's where I question it, let alone, like you said, the division is really freaking good. So I'm not mad at you there. That's a pretty good pick.
All right, let's recap. Sims has the Vikings, the Saints, and the New York Football Giants as the teams that are most likely to not live up to their projected win totals by the folks in Vegas. I've got the Rams, the Ravens, and the Titans. We'll let Twitter decide who's right and who's wrong. When we return, Twitter's input on the teams with the best young core of talent for now and for the future. More PFT Live right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.